What up, y'all? It's your boy Martine, aka the Boxing Purist. Welcome once again, or should I say welcome back to the Truth and Absolute channel, where I speak the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me, good God Almighty. All right, man, y'all already know what it is, man. I've been away for a minute. A lot of crazy things are going on in the world. I had my focus on other things, and then there was some things that happened, y'all, that just kind of broke my focus. I wasn't really feeling making content. I wasn't feeling none of that. But guess what, man? I'm back. I'm alive. Thank good God in heaven. And let's get straight into it, man. Y'all already know why I'm here. Okay, you guys already know what I'm here. I'll be putting videos out to catch up on all the boxing news. But today we're going to talk about the freaking Super Bowl of boxing that happened last night in LA at the BMO Stadium, where we just had the craziest card ever put together in the sport of boxing, right? I mean, back in the days when PBC was first getting started, Al Heyman and them, they were putting cards together that kind of looked like the card last night. Only difference is, when Al Heyman was doing it, you'd have 3 A-side star fighters against 3 guys that just started boxing the day before. So what I'm trying to say is that he used to put cards together to showcase his fighters and sell it to the fans, even though they were bogus fights, to where this guy made fights with actual potential threats on the other side of that ring. And it made for a hell of a card. I mean, I'm going to be real with y'all, and y'all tell me if you feel the same way. I love boxing. I love watching boxing. I love the big fights. I love the big events. I like when the stars come out. I like the matchups. But it was almost too much. It was crazy. I'm sitting there watching the fight with my cousin and a friend of mine. I'm watching. I'm like, great, good fight. Oh, dang, there's another one. Oh, damn, there's another one. I loved it, but yo, it got late, man. A lot of us, we get older, you get a little sleepy, bro. So let's jump into it. The first fight that I want to talk about is the Andy Cruz fight. Andy Cruz, man, he's a standout guy. He's at 135, I believe. I only caught the end of his fight, but he did what he had to do. I picked him to win that fight. I actually had a pretty good run on this card. There was one fight that I didn't call correct, and I'll get to that one. However, so Andy Cruz, man, at 135, I know he's pretty fresh. He's a gold medalist. I think he won the gold in Tokyo the last time around. The dude is good. Cuban amateur. Great career, all that, up and coming. I see good things coming from him. Okay, now David Morrell. David Morrell looked pretty decent in his fight. I don't think this was necessarily a showcase fight for David Morrell. You know what I'm saying? To go out there, first fight at a different weight class, see what he could do. The one thing I will say is that David Morrell filled out 175 really nice. He looked healthy at 175. He didn't look drained. Not that he looked drained at 168, but, you know, sometimes fighters are able to just cut weight, and you see it on the scales. They were just able to cut, but a lot of the times it's not healthy because it's a straight cut in weight. David Morrell looked good. In my personal opinion, it's still too young to say what he will do against other guys in the division. Obviously, he's going to stay at 175, and we all saw that he called out David Benavidez, and, you know, I love how he said it. He's pretty much saying, you know, David calls himself the monster. He calls himself the boogeyman. I'm here, what's up? Which, in my opinion, David, jump all over that right now. Don't wait till this guy gets better. He's calling you out at this point. You better answer the call, bro. You guys are both on that level where you're trying to go to the top tier. There's steps that you must climb. Ain't no helicopter ride around here, man. So let me see, what's the next fight? Yo, Jared Anderson and my man, what's his name? Martin Bakole. That fight from the very beginning, something told me, man, because Jared Anderson, I feel like the guy has it all, right? He has the physique, he has the strength, he has the movement, he seems to have the athleticism to be a dominant heavyweight, but he just does not quite have it up here. Right? He looks like the real deal, but he just does not quite have it up here. You know what I'm saying? Last night, the shots that he was getting caught by, and I'm not taking nothing away from Bakole, I believe his name was. I'm not taking nothing away from that guy because dude was a beast. He reminded me like of George Foreman in there. And y'all chill. I'm not saying he's as good as George Foreman. I'm saying in the fact that he's just standing straight up and down, and every shot he's throwing, it didn't look like much, but we would see the aftermath after he would land the shots on Anderson. Believe it or not, I said this dude might knock out Anderson. Sure enough, he ended up stopping him, and I believe, was it the 5th round? I believe it was the 5th round, dropped him in the first with that little sweet uppercut that Bakole kept landing on Jared Anderson. He just kept that little uppercut coming in. He was timing them beautiful. The straight shots sealed the deal. Bakole is a monster, yo. That dude is a beast. He is a huge dude. He's strong. He's humble. He could take a punch, and he could damn sure kick out a punch. That was a good and entertaining fight for sure. Now, what's the next? This is crazy. I got to talk about this many, man. Okay, now I think the next fight after this was this fight right here. Now, Andy Ruiz versus Jarrell Miller. Now, before the fight, I said, you know what? These guys are actually pretty similar. And I said they're similar because both of them are big dudes with surprisingly fast hands for heavyweights. And not only heavyweights, man. These dudes, these are big boys. You know what I'm saying? Andy Ruiz came into this fight at 274, which to my knowledge is the second heaviest that he's ever come into a professional fight. My man Jarrell Big Baby Miller looked okay. He looked more in shape than Andy Ruiz did, but he was still tipping the scales at 305 pounds is what he weighed in. But Jarrell Miller, man, is crazy because he's that big, over 300 pounds, but he holds that weight fairly good. Don't get me wrong, man. I'm sorry, y'all. Let me close this. Don't get me wrong. It's a lot of weight to carry around, especially for a heavyweight boxer. But if you're able to do it, you know what I'm saying? If you're able to pace yourself, if you're able to make a game plan and fight to a way that's going to suit you, I think he did just that. And I'm going to be real with y'all, man. I thought Jarrell Big Baby Miller pulled off the win. I wouldn't even call it an upset. You know, I thought he did enough to win the fight. They called it a draw. I wasn't really feeling that. Obviously, you know, Andy Ruiz was the hometown guy. Andy Ruiz was supposed to win the fight. But I thought that Jarrell Big Baby Miller did enough to win that fight. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if you guys saw after the fight, Andy Ruiz's jaw looked like it was broken. You guys heard it in his speech. It was a good fight. You know what I'm saying? I didn't see it going 12 rounds. It actually did go 12 rounds. Much respect to both of them. But in my personal opinion, Jarrell Big Baby Miller won that fight. Now, let's get into the big fights, right? Isaac Cruz versus Rayo Valenzuela. Now, I'm going to be real with y'all. Before last night, I've only seen highlights of Rayo Valenzuela, right? But I saw something in the kid, and I said, right? And I'm not a gambling man. This probably would have been beneficial, but I'm not a gambling man. I said, I have a feeling, and some of y'all that I chop it up with too, I said, I got a feeling that Pitbull Cruz is going to get upset by this kid. The kid looks he's focused, he's determined, he's hungry. He knows that this is a humongous stage on this kind of card with the Turkish dude. This is the time to showcase, and guess what, man? Rayo Valenzuela did. He showed up. Although in the beginning, man, it looked like it was just one punch away from catching him. You know what I'm saying? And that's an interesting one, man, because in my personal opinion, you know, what makes guys like Isaac Cruz and Tank Davis so good at that weight class, and I may be wrong, but this is just what it looks like. The fact that both of those guys, Tank and Pitbull, are so small, you got to remember, man, when it's time to hit the scales, these dudes are pretty much at their natural weight. You know what I'm saying? I don't think there's too many crazy diets. I mean, diet as far as eating healthy, yes. I don't think that they need to cut back that much, though, in order to make that weight. And just think about it. If you're fighting boxing, if you're fighting at a natural weight, you know, not a natural fighting weight, but like this is your natural weight and it looks healthy on you, you got a huge advantage inside that ring. Yes, you give up height most of the time, especially when you're that size. But in my personal opinion, it helps you inside that ring. And I think that's why Pitbull Cruz is so strong inside that ring when he's coming forward, why he's a damn tornado, is because he's at a healthy weight for him. Same thing with Tank Davis. Now, we know, and I'm just going to throw this in there really quick because I'm petty. I'm petty when it comes to certain things. Y'all, I'll say it. Obviously, we saw that Tank wasn't calling out Pitbull Cruz, which I don't know why, because in my personal opinion, I think that he would have beat Pitbull Cruz with two healthy hands. But he wasn't going to do that. He wasn't saying the name, even though it was on the table. And let me tell y'all something. Tank versus Pitbull, you could have made that anytime after the first fight, and it would have been a huge hit. And it's funny because no one's going to call out Tank for this, right? We saved that for only one, man. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But what I think is going to happen now, Tank, It's like two birds in one stone. In my personal opinion, he's going to go after Rayo Valenzuela now. And stylistically, Tank will beat a Rayo Valenzuela because that seek and destroy, Tank is pretty good at breaking down fighters. And a Tank, a direct hit is why they call him that. I feel like he'll do way better against a Rayo Valenzuela stylistically than a Pitbull Cruz. So now you go after Valenzuela. More than likely, you beat him. Now you beat the guy that gave you the toughest fight of your whole career. It's like two birds with one stone. Y'all get what I'm saying, man. The media would lose their minds, and so would a whole lot of the fans. You know what I'm saying? I thought it was a good fight. I thought Rayo Valenzuela boxed beautifully. I mean, there was a lot of times where you thought that looping shot from Pitbull was going to land on him and just end it. And he took a lot of shots. Don't get me wrong, man. He's fighting Pitbull. Pitbull has been on a freaking adrenaline rush. He's been riding the wave of the Tank fight ever since they fought. And it's done good for him. It's done good for his family. Much blessings to him. But, man, Valenzuela had the great game plan last night. Wow, was that outrageous, man. Now, let's move on to the fight. And again, I called that upset before it happened. Now let's move on to the main event, right? Terrence Bud Crawford, pound for pound, one of the top guys, versus Israel Madrimov, who ended up being a game competitor. Now, he's another guy. I knew that he switched hit. I knew that he had an okay amateur as far as how long it went. I knew he was a strong dude, but above everything, he was there to win. Israel Madrimov wasn't there just to collect a payday. He wasn't there just to show up. He was there to win. And in my personal opinion, that's what made the fight what it was. He never let Bud, get in a rhythm. He kept disrupting his rhythm with the constant feints that he was doing. Now, a lot of people are saying that Madrimov got robbed. I don't think he got robbed. I think that Bud clearly won the fight, a close fight. I think Bud clearly won a close fight. There was a lot of those rounds that could have gone either way. It just depends on who you were watching. And as far as the judges go and all of them, it just depends what they were trying to do, because obviously they ended up giving those rounds to Bud. Could have gone either way. Bud landed the cleaner punches, man. He did what he had to do. He got the win. In my personal opinion, there's no controversy there. However, I will say this, okay? A lot of times we overlook what weight classes are in boxing. A lot of times we look at the weight of somebody and we say to ourselves, it's only one weight class. It's only 7 pounds. I've never been a professional fighter. I've never been in a sport where I had to cut weight like that and had to do that. But this is what I will say from years of watching the sport, from being a dad, from knowing people, from working out. This is one thing I will say. When you're talking about 7 pounds in a fighting weight, it makes the world a difference. It makes the world a difference. It's 7 whole pounds. Just go grab a 7-pound weight and just imagine that distributed through your body. Whether it's with bone, whether it's your muscles, whether it's everything, it makes a huge difference inside that ring. That's why we've seen Benavidez go up in weight. He was landing every shot he wanted to land against that dude, and he couldn't stop him. David Morrell, he's another one. He was landing bombs against this dude. He could not stop him. We seen Terrence Crawford. He got into that ring. He was landing some decent shots on the guy. Again, the guy wasn't no pushover, and he didn't stop him. He didn't knock him down, didn't do nothing. Now, obviously, heading into this fight, there was a lot of talk about, I'm not going to refer to that dude as His Excellency, because I don't know about y'all, man, but for me, I didn't like everybody kissing his butt here in the States. That's just me personally. Let's go back to this topic. Terrence Bud Crawford fighting Canelo. Okay, we obviously see that Terrence Bud's, his power didn't necessarily come over to 154. And the reason I say that is because there's a lot of bombs that he did land that at 47, I mean, those were the shots that kept dropping Spence. Now, we could keep saying Spence wasn't 100%. Spence wasn't 100%. Listen, he kept catching Spence and he damaged Spence. Obviously, those shots didn't have the same effect on Madrimov, who was a bigger guy for Terrence Bud Crawford to be fighting. Now, just picture Terrence Bud fighting at 160. He has the skills, but he gives up way too much size. Now 168 against the top guy at 168, talking about Canelo? It's this fight should not happen. Honestly, man, I don't even think Crawford really wants the Canelo fight. If you guys saw after they interviewed him, after he got the win against Madrimov, the commentator was trying to push the Canelo fight to Terrence Bud Crawford. Crawford is not, of course he would like the Canelo fight, but it'd strictly be because of a payday. You know what I'm saying? I don't think that Bud thinks that he needs Canelo for his legacy, and I'm going to be real with y'all. He doesn't need Canelo for his legacy. These guys fight at different weight classes, way different weight classes that one shouldn't even... Yeah, he does not need Canelo, but Canelo does bring a big payday. But again... You know, and it seems like this Turkish guy, whatever, Turkish Aliada, whatever his name is, he's good at putting together fights. You know, he was talking about a few potential fights at the fight. You know, he was talking about possible Shakur Stevenson versus William Zepeda that they verbally agreed. He was talking about a possible Terrence Crawford versus Virgil Ortiz. So he's talking these into existence, and you see these damn boxing promoters running around kissing the dude's butt. And I get it, you know, it's like he's buying boxing, American boxing. It's like he's buying it. Right? So he's definitely looking to make these fights. And hey, it's going to be interesting. But the Bud versus Canelo, I just don't see it, man. I don't see the point in investing millions and millions and millions of dollars into it. I don't even think it's a fight that the public wants. You know what I'm saying? I really don't see it like that. Anywho, though, you know, Bud did his job. We'll see what's next for Terrence Bud Crawford. I think that it's better for him to just stay between 154 and 147, go to 147 again and fight Boots, or 154, take on the Charlo fight. Charlo looked like crap against Canelo. He didn't give much of an effort. But at this point, man, just get a fight, man. I don't think it's smart for Bud to try to fight Canelo at 168. It's too much to ask from him. It's too much to ask of him, and for what? For what? Neither of those guys. A Canelo-Crawford fight doesn't do anything for either of those guys as far as their legacy goes. You know what I'm saying? Bud is not going to go in there and knock Canelo out, and he's not going to be able to just, you know, kind of touch Canelo and move all night and expect a victory. It's not going to happen against the face of boxing, Canelo. So we'll see where we go from here, man. But anyway, taking it all away, man, just focusing on the night of boxing itself. I'm going to be real with you guys. I like the card. Obviously, who wouldn't like the card, right? I mean, the entrances, all this stuff. I'm going to be real, though. I'm not a humongous fan of the riot season being written all over everything. All over the WBC belt, the green belt. I didn't like Oscar, Bob Arum, all these dudes, you know, kissing this guy's butt. Eminem sitting right by him like a little puppy. I don't know, man. I didn't, and especially, man, when they did that whole thing with that green flag with the Arabic writing with the sword under it, it just, for me personally, it didn't hit right here in America, in my personal opinion. I know a lot of y'all don't want to hear that. Whatever, it's my channel. I'm going to talk about it. So as good as this guy seems for boxing, it's almost too good to be true, in my personal opinion. You know what I mean? I mean, we already see that Saudis, you know, they have their own version of the PGA Tour that I guess blows our PGA Tour out the water. We already got this guy coming over here putting boxing events together way better than the boxing events that they're putting together here in the States. And another thing, my cousin asked me to point this out, and guess what? It's been way too long. I should have pointed it out. Why is it, right, when we have an American fighter inside that ring, or they're playing, you know, someone's singing the national anthem, why is it that we don't start chanting USA, USA? You know what I mean? And he made a really good point with that. We should be doing that. We should be standing behind our fighters. We should stand behind our country. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, though, man, I know this was a lot for one video. I'm happy to be back. Drop a comment down below. Let's talk boxing. Let's catch up. It's fun to be here with y'all again. Much love. God bless y'all. Speak to y'all soon. Peace.